Happy Independence Day Eve, everybody. Guys, we're back tonight. Everybody's back tonight. All of the ladies, lots to unpack. We're starting off with Stephen A. Smith's interview that goes off the rails. He interviewed a Democratic delegate who is severely upset about being the Democrats possibly passing over Kamala Harris. Also, Mayor of DC, Mayor Muriel Bowser, labels DC as the gayest city in the world. Raven-Symone from The View is on The View and says we need to get rid of these labels. She's pushing back against it. Also, major pediatric medical organization brainstormed ways to circumvent child sex change bans. Also, again, tomorrow is the 4th of July. And guess what? We have record high inflation. It's going to be a lot more expensive for your barbecues, for your cookouts, and everything this 4th of July. Also, actor Columbus Short goes in on Black women and compares them to other races. Is his criticism valid? And Steve Bannon, powerful voice in the MAGA movement, reports to jail. We're going to talk about that. And then lastly, one of our faves, Larry Elder, blast hurdler Alaysha Johnson. We're going to talk about that and tell you why. All that and more next. Hello. It is Wednesday and it's time for Pop and Politics. We are talking about the latest in hot topics, news, and entertainment. As you guys can see, we are all back tonight. I'm KJ, along with the fabulous ladies. Of course, we have Yana, we have T, and Shelly E. All right. So join the conversation by leaving a comment on YouTube or Twitter. We will check the comments periodically throughout the show. And don't just comment, subscribe. If you miss us here on YouTube, you can watch us on Rumble or listen to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify under the name Pop and Politics. Guys, we are an independent media, and if you want to support the ladies, us, what we do, your super chats and donations go a long way in helping us produce conservative content. Any amount is appreciated. Guys, this is not just a podcast. This is a movement of God-fearing, truth-seeking, America-loving people that understand there is a target on our backs because we, the people, value freedom. But we must stand up against it, stand together, subscribe so we can amplify this rallying call for freedom. All right, ladies, let's set it off.
Yes, let's set it off. Thank y'all for holding down the fort while we're Evie and KJ, Shelly and KJ.
Yes.
Thank y'all for holding it down.
Yeah, indeed. Yes, indeed. Happy to have everyone back. Full cast tonight, so certainly excited about that. We have a lot to unpack, so I want to get right into it. We're starting off tonight with Stephen A. Smith. He had a wild clip interview with a Democratic delegate from California. I want to give you guys the backstory before we get into this. So as everyone knows, a group of 25 House Democrats is reportedly getting ready to ask President Joe Biden to drop out of the 2024 presidential election if he does not convince them otherwise in the coming days. A House Democratic aide said the group is preparing to ask Biden to exit the race. I mean, TMZ also reported it looks like he's going to announce a suspension of his campaign as early as next week. Okay. So again, we have, people are saying, well, who's next? Well, it would seem that Kamala Harris is next. So Kamala Harris, of course, the VP, uh, as some Democrats are saying, would be the best person to replace him. She seems the clear choice, but many Democrats are not backing her. She's not grabbing attention. There are concerns over her polling numbers. Take us forward to this interview with Stephen A. Smith. So he interviewed California Democratic delegate Areva Martin, and she went off about Democrats possibly bypassing Kamala Harris. All right. I want to get your ladies' response. Take a look at this and then we'll respond to this. All right. Let's see here. All right, here we are.
We agree. There's a long list of Democrats: Kamala Harris, Gavin Newsom, Gretchen Whitmer. The list goes on and on and on. You name 4 or 5 people. Where is their consensus? You've got to build consensus, and there is not consensus right now. If you pick a white man over Kamala Harris, black women, I can tell you this: we're gonna walk away. We're gonna blow the party up. If you pick the black woman,
where you gonna walk away to, Areva? Where you gonna walk away to? You gonna walk away? You ain't gonna walk away to Trump?
Over Kamala Harris. So where are we getting agreement from on who this ideal Democratic candidate should be? Tell me that. Nobody's told me who it should be. And then tell me how you're going to get the 4,000 delegates, which I am one of them. I'm a delegate coming from California. So who's going to step out? One, tell Joe Biden you got to step aside. Because everybody's not being mature about this process. Joe Biden is not just the president. There's a whole team of people. There's an administration. So Joe Biden, when he gets reelected, which my prediction is that he will, he brings with him Kamala Harris, the most diverse administration in the history of this country. Y'all need to just stay the course. We got more black judges appointed under Joe Biden than anyone, even President Barack Obama.
That is not the point, because we're not, once again, hold on, Areva. We are not.
I don't know anything about sports, but I know you don't give up on your star player in the middle of a game.
Okay, excuse me, time out. Let me explain to you. I can give you a host of examples of when have given up on a star player that has gotten a bit too old and beyond his prime.
All right. So there you have it. She's like many of these black women. We always say this is the year of the black woman, and it's not for good reasons. Here she is. Shelley, what are your thoughts on that exchange?
Well, I think Areva is saying 2 things, but she really doesn't want to come out and just be direct. Number one, the Democrat Party, they do not want Kamala Harris, number one. Number 2, she's trying to sugarcoat it by only focusing on Biden and a replacement for Biden while leaving Kamala Harris as the VP choice. However, on the other side, I have some news for conservatives and Republicans. And it was sort of an aha moment to myself. I have to admit that. Listening today to 2 different attorneys. I think one was attorney. I know maybe 2. Guess what, people? I don't want Kamala Harris to be VP or president either. But our Constitution allows and says that the vice president should succeed the president, whoever that vice president is. So she is there, as silly, as hyenic as she may be. If Joe Biden steps down, and I hope he does, because he's not running our country. Our country is being run by an unelected, bureaucratic, administrative consensus administration state, whatever you want to call it. But if he steps down, then Kamala Harris is constitutionally will be the president for at least the next 6 or 7 months.
Yeah. Yana, what are your thoughts on this and that exchange there? I mean, are you thinking, who do you think is going to happen with this next week?
Well, I think the Democrats are in panic mode. It's obvious. They are freaking out after this debate, and it was so predictable. The debate was exactly how I expected it to be. So I don't know why they're so surprised. I personally hope Biden does not step down, because I just want to see more of the entertainment. I would like to see more in another debate like this. So, however, if Kamala steps in, it's just going to be entertaining as well because she can't really speak well either, and she's not really smart. So that's going to be interesting either way.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on this, Taria T? With this idea of nobody better bypass Kamala Harris. What are your thoughts there?
You already know my thoughts. I cannot live in a country where a woman is the president. I don't care if it's for 3 days. I'm out. Literally, I am gone. I will never, ever vote for a woman for president, nor live in a country where the woman is president. But, I mean, I don't know if I can. The woman isn't president right now, but there are definitely women running the country right now because Joe Biden isn't. So as far as this lady and what she's saying, I mean, I think they're split right now. They're so confused because some people are saying, yeah, keep Joe Biden. But some people are saying we're not going to be able to beat Trump with Joe Biden the way that he is. But you weren't going to be able to beat him in the first place. That's why they're throwing all these tricks in the bag, because they knew that. And they're behind the ball because we've been saying it from the get-go that President Biden will not be able to run this country for another 4 years. We've been looking at him. We've been watching with our own eyes, not being tricked by what the liberals are saying. And we've been giving y'all or everyone the tea. He's not going to make it.
Yeah, we certainly have. And speaking of Kamala Harris, I wanted you guys I have this clip of her. And this is what we have to look forward to. This is what we have to look forward to if we have a Kamala Harris presidency. Take a look here. Let me see here. All right.
Not me.
And what can be and be unburdened by what has been. You know? What can be unburdened by what has been. What can be unburdened by what has been. What can be unburdened by what has been.
She must have said that at some point and people have gone, that is, yes.
What can be unburdened by what has been. What can be unburdened by what has been.
The mask version's good.
What can be unburdened by what has been. What can be unburdened by what has been.
It's Bill Clinton.
That's a damn shame.
Things in office, in this very office, as a matter of fact, I'm feeling pretty bad about it. Can't keep paying these dry cleaning bills.
What can be unburdened by what has been. Where we can be, unburdened by where we've been, and unburdened by where we are right now.
What does that even mean?
She doesn't know.
That's simply not words. You're not
unburden us by this
concept. Yeah. You're doing something else there. It's more like, I don't know, like sort of linguistic painting. It was too abstract.
We've been unburdening enough.
Imagine what.
Yeah.
Is she trying to be like Shakespearean or something? Like what?
What do you have to look forward to?
Yes, she's trying to be profound and she sounds utterly stupid. No, the Democrats are in a tizzy. Not only are they still feigning this shock from the debate, which it's really a lie. They knew about it, number one. I said before that I think it was going to be some kind of ploy for that debate. I don't know if this is what I was thinking, but I would go along and say this is they knew what they were doing. They put him up there on purpose, but now they got themselves hammered to the wall because they don't know what to do. If they get rid of Biden, it's going to be Kamala. They don't really want her because she will definitely cause them to lose like what? Trump will have a landslide, right? Not just a win, it will be red all over that map on that American map. So they don't know what to do. They don't know if they're coming or going. And
we not only is she in the news, but Hunter Biden is back in the news.
Right.
He's actually joined meetings with President Biden and his top aides this week at the White House. 4 people familiar with the matter tell colleagues, according to the Washington Examiner, who are told the reaction from some senior White House staff has been, they say, what the hell is happening? And I quote that. Biden spent Sunday at Camp David presidential retreat with his wife, Jill Biden, and his children and grandchildren, where they urged him to stay in the race, daddy, urged him per reports from the New York Times and the Associated Press. Hunter Biden wants Americans to see the version of his daddy that he knows, scrappy and in command of the facts. He begged his father, Daddy, you got to stay in the White House or they're going to put me in jail.
Of course. He need his cocaine. He need his crack refill. I mean, he getting off that. He need another hit.
So I mean, they have Biden, Hunter Biden, giving old Joe Biden, mumbling Joe Biden, who don't know whether he's coming and going, advice. I mean, this is off the track.
Let me tell you, I am so glad, because the Republican Party should have been prepared for this. And I think that we were, because we saw it happening. They are going to be in a frenzy come this national convention. It's going to be chaotic. They're not going to know what to do, whether to keep Joe Biden or to find another candidate. Kamala is not going to make it. So they're going to have to bring somebody else into this election at the last minute. And that's going to cause so much chaos for them.
They might riot their own convention. They might riot their own convention.
Yeah, I mean, this is crazy.
I mean, they had to prepare Biden for a week for this. So that's why I believe that they are really in panic, because they really thought he was going to do okay.
No, they didn't. They knew he wasn't.
So you believe that they knew this was coming?
I mean, they prepared him. I guess. Well, they said he was doing well during the practice runs. So, and then he just completely fumbled through the whole thing. And I think some people maybe thought he was going to do badly, but I think they had hope that somehow his brain was going to, I don't know.
No, Yana, they knew. They've been lying to us, but we've been seeing it. Like I said, they knew that he wasn't doing well. He wasn't doing well before the debate. So they knew.
Yeah, I mean, we've been reporting on this really for the past year about mental decline. And every time us and other people on the right said, what was going on, not just said, but showed it in multiple videos, the news media, mainstream media, pushed back against it. I mean, just, this week, now they're all on board saying he needs to go. You have a headline here, how Biden's mental decline went from misinformation to fact in a week. So last week, the same networks, Dems talked about him, glaring problems, of a well-sourced Wall Street Journal piece detailing a litany of Biden slips. Not long before that, they said the opposite. New York Times, pre-debate headline was Biden battles age doubts and a trail of misleading videos. The Washington Post activated its fact checkers to show us how Republicans used misleading videos to attack Biden in a 24-hour period. These are all headlines they were pushing prior to the debate. Now it's the total opposite.
Exactly.
At the last minute.
Right.
Exactly.
So, again, we've talked about this many times. It's, this mainstream media is nothing but a propaganda tool for the Democrat Party. They're corrupt. They're defunct. And, if you are still watching mainstream media, I feel very sorry for you.
The New York Times, if the New York Times is putting out the headlines that they have today, they knew. They were the same people who told us only a few weeks ago, if not even a year, that when you talk about Biden and how degenerate he has become, his cognitive skills declining, we're practicing ageism. Right? The same paper now today and yesterday, they are calling for him to basically vacate, leave, jump ship. Because you know why? Because they know that he's going to throw the election. Again, they don't want Kamala because she will definitely be like this for the Democrat Party. But
we will continue to follow this. We definitely will continue to stay on this and see what's going on. We got to move right along. We're still in DC, but now Muriel Bowser. So this was actually last year. Again, we are just entering the first week of July, getting over Pride Month. But I wanted to get you guys' thoughts on this exchange here, this speech from the mayor of DC, Muriel Bowser. Take a look here at what she had to say about DC and see if you agree with this.
With us.
All right, man.
Well, let's hear it for the Reverend Dr. Wade. Well, happy Pride, everybody. We're so happy to welcome you to our city hall, our state house, to represent our DC values. I'm Muriel Bowser. I'm the mayor of the best city in the world. Also, the gayest city in the world. We just wrapped up a week of Black Pride celebrations in Washington, D.C., and we're happy to be here today at the start of Pride Month as we celebrate and protect our LGBTQA plus community in Washington, D.C. I too want to thank our team in D.C.
Okay, so you see there, she couldn't even, she was trying to get all the letters in. She was forgot the A, whatever. I mean, what are your thoughts on this, Shelley? Now we have Black Pride Month.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
every month of the calendar, they really want it to be something different. They don't want a Julian calendar. They don't want American holidays. They want whatever LGBT alphabet month they come up with. Miss whatever name, Miss Bowser. Let's talk about our governor here as well. Our governor was parading literally with the rainbow flag along with the Pride Parade recently. These people are pandering to any group where they will gain power from. And again, interestingly enough, they're not doing it to a lot of Black people anymore. The Democrat Party has moved away from the Black people as their base. They want any other group. And let's be honest, the LGBT alphabet groups, they are well funded. Ultimately, it comes down to follow the money.
Yeah. Yana, I want to get your thoughts on this. I mean, why are we always with the labels? Why do we always have to continue to push Black, gay, trans? I mean, why do we care?
I mean, I'm not really sure. I just know that in DC, so I used to live in DC. I still have friends there. Muriel Bowser, she's not popular. She's actually she's become very unpopular. There's crime is up, homelessness there's homeless people everywhere. Taxes are up, prices, rent is ridiculous, and this is what she is talking about. That gay people, LGBT. I mean, the reason it could be is part of this whole Marxist agenda to pick, on the group that is supposedly oppressed. So it has to be now Black gay people in DC. But just knowing people in DC, they don't care about this stuff. Yeah. Regular people, they don't want to hear about it. I mean, it's so difficult to live in DC right now. And the only people who really, I guess, do well are the ones who work for these politicians.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, T, I want to get your thoughts on this. I mean, here we are in 2024, and we're still on this same vein about I'm gay, talking about people's bedrooms. First it was like, let me love who I want to love, which is fine. Nobody cares. And now it's like every time you turn around, it's like, look at me, I'm gay. Look at me. What's going on here?
They didn't have fathers in their lives. People are crazy. Now they need attention because they didn't get it when they were in school or growing up. So it's everything. It's not just gay. Look at me, gay. Hey, look at me. I'm a vegan. Hey, give me special attention because I have anxiety or I have depression, or it's always something that these people are asking for. And it's become the culture now. It's the culture because people suck and they don't have anything. They don't have a foundation. Like, the blueprint of just being a normal person and having a family and doing the right things and getting a job or becoming an entrepreneur and that basic stuff. They don't have that because they've taken all of those things away from society. And now they're just like scrambling for attention or scrambling for some type of foundation to live by. And this is what we've come up to. And I think that Atlanta would have some type of beef with that statement that Mayor Bowser said, because Atlanta is quite gay. Actually.
Yeah, I mean, and again, this was her. She's the mayor. She's represents the city in leadership, and she's codifying this like this is the gayest city in the country or in the world, in the country. Again, with these labels, it's nonsense. And here we have on The View, we have Raven-Symone, who was pushing back against this. I want you guys to take a look at this clip here. This was from a while ago on The View. This was when Raven-Symone was on there, but her message here really makes sense, and I wish it rang true today. Take a look.
Time. Miley Cyrus says that even though she's been in relationships with men, she's also been in relationships with women. What up, family? Well, she doesn't want to be labeled. That sounds familiar.
Did you say that?
I think I heard that somewhere.
You got it.
I heard. Let's see the clip because I think I
don't want to be labeled gay. I want to be labeled a human who loves humans. I'm tired of being labeled. I'm an American. I'm not an African American. I'm an American.
Oh, girl, don't start up his Twitter on fire.
I'm sorry.
What?
I'm sorry.
Lord. What did you just say? Stop the tape right now.
This was last year. I got in a lot of heat off the internet and in the Black community. I'm not going to say African American community. I'm going to say Black community because they thought that I said I wasn't Black and that I didn't want to be labeled in general. And you know what, Miley? I agree. We should not be labeled because one, that creates tension between people. You feel like you can look down like, okay, that's this type of person. This is how I should feel about you. Again, I am a Black American.
Is it generational though? Do you think that you got a hard time from older people, or do you think younger people are more
No,
upset?
everybody was mad that I didn't call myself African. I know where my roots come from. She knows where her roots come from. She knows who she lays in the bed with. I don't have to wear it on my sleeve with all the stigma that's been put on us for the last millions of years. Like, let's.
Okay, so I mean, I don't agree with what she's talking about, the stigma and stuff, but the overall message here is, why are we so infatuated with this whole division and these labels and things like this? We don't care. We're Americans. Can't we? That just be enough, Shelley? Are we ever going to get past this and post-racial, post-identification ideology?
On the whole, I would say no, particularly not for most Black people. But Shelley has been calling herself an American or Native American for decades. Been doing it so Raven-Symone, you said nothing that was not new, that was new to me. Been doing it for almost as long as I can remember. But yes, we should. But I do have a challenge for Raven-Symone or people like her, I guess in the LGBT community or trans community. If you don't want labels, that's fine. I can understand that. Well, then don't call me a cis woman. I am a woman. I am the original.
Yeah, Yana. I mean, you've said this on the show in the past, how this idea of intersectionality and things like this are Marxism. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. And this is what Marxists have done in the Soviet Union. They actually drew borders. They created these labels for different ethnicities to kind of make this belief that these are different people and they come together under the same ideology. So to create this illusion of diversity, and you see how they always talk about, oh, this is, we are for diversity, or Biden's administration is so diverse, and because to Marxists, it's like a show of something that is progressive, that there are different kinds of people, but then at the same time they follow the same ideology. So there's no diversity of thought. It's just diversity of skin tones and diversity of sexuality. And so they're pushing that as being more important than different ideas.
Yes. T, I know you've been very vocal about just LGBT, pushing back against it. We do see now how in schools, K through 12, they are presenting homosexuality, even promiscuity, as normal, natural, healthy. What are your thoughts on this? And can we get past this? I mean, is this something that should be taught in education?
No, because it's a sexual orientation.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the day, they taught us biology and anatomy and what goes on in our bodies, but that's it. We shouldn't have to worry about our children knowing who wants to stick their thing in somebody else's butthole. That's inappropriate. They don't need to know about a woman want to stick her tongue in another woman's hole or carpet munching. Children don't need to know that. And I don't understand why. I mean, eventually they will find out about sex. Give them time to grow as an individual and as a person and as a child. Let them enjoy their childhood without throwing this stuff into their faces. And I think they want our children to be this way. That way, I don't know if it's population control or what is it, but all we need is for everyone. I mean, if they grow as an adult, because what we forget about, especially women, I don't know about men, but girls, we have phases, and our phases. I mean, some of us had our what did we call it back then? Not boy phase, but
Tomboy.
Like girl.
Tomboy. Yeah, tomboy phase, when we're dressing up like a boy, or have on the clothes that boys wear. Tomboy, and we're playing out with the guys. Today, they would have been like, "Oh, you want to be a boy, don't you? So you need to remove your tits and become a boy." When it's natural to have phases, and it's just all messed up. Everything is messed up.
And we see them trying to circumvent parental rights.
Yeah.
Daily Caller reported recently a major pediatric medical organization has plotted ways to circumvent child sex change bans, emails show. So members of America's leading pediatric medical association discussed possible ways to circumvent red states' bans on sex change procedures and drugs for children, according to emails obtained by the Daily Caller News Foundation. The emails are part of a trove of documents that show how the American Academy of Pediatrics, AAP, the country's largest professional association of pediatricians, quietly partnered with transgender activist groups such as Human Rights Campaign, and to push sex changes nationwide. I mean, this is scary stuff. They got these emails. Again, currently 25 states have passed legislation banning or restricting pediatric sex change. And in July 2023, last year, an email thread, Dr. Patricia Wells, an AAP fellow and part of the LGBT health section email group, drew attention to a federal court ruling that allowed Tennessee's ban on child sex changes to take effect, calling it a huge setback. And then they tried to circumvent it, suggesting telehealth as a possible option to deliver medical interventions to minors. Shelley, I mean, this is a major issue.
Absolutely. We've been talking about this before. And let me start by saying again, every institution, medical, legal, religious, financial, has been perverted and corrupted by leftism, wokeism, whatever ism you want to call it. The APA, unfortunately, has not been immune to this. So these groups, they're professional organizations, if you want to call them unions of sort. They're certainly associations. These are professionals. These are pediatricians, educated, knowledgeable people by and large. But these people have activism groups within the organization. The American Medical Association has even gone to support and advocate that sex, male, female, boy, girl, is not even placed on a birth certificate at birth. So
that's crazy.
This has been going on. I think they did it in 2021, the AMA. So these groups, and maybe you want to call them subgroups or very similar parallel associations, are pushing to trans children, minors. They're pushing to circumvent parents and parental rights. They don't believe that parents have the right. They believe that they are really agents of the government and they know best for children because they have these titles and degrees.
Yeah. Kiana, what are your thoughts on this? These are scary times. And what can parents do to push back against things like this?
Well, it's the same Marxism that we've been talking about. In Marxist ideology, there's no such thing as a family where there's a mother and a father. And there's this whole idea that children belong to everyone or belong to the the community. And so this is what they're pushing for. And also when T mentioned that they're teaching all this weird information about sex to children, they're really separating the idea of procreation from sex. So they want to push that, if sex is not for procreation and it's for just purely for pleasure. So that's what they're pushing children to believe and to see. And so, I mean, what parents can do, first of all, they need to be married to have kids. And it's very important that there's a mother and a father in the relationship. So that's the biggest thing that they can do. And stay married. So even if you have problems in your relationship, work it out, because kids, they need to have both parents in order to be stable, and have a man in the family who is strong, who is really going to teach the kids the hierarchy that should be in the family and in the society.
Yeah, absolutely. Great thoughts there. And Yana, what are your thoughts here on this, T? And before I get you in on this, I want to just piggyback off of something Yana said. Again, we have been talking about this for the last several months. In 1963, the communists put forward a plan called 45 Communist Goals. Check out our YouTube. We have within our community posts many of these goals that were pushed forward. There were 45 of them, communist goals for America, and they are pretty much on task with many of these goals. One of them, which was goal number 29, was to replace our nation's laws, discredit the American Constitution by calling it inadequate, old-fashioned, out of step with modern needs, a hindrance to cooperation between nations on a worldwide basis. And what they want to do is put bureaucrats in these within these institutions. The Supreme Court Chevron ruling that just came down this week was a great hindrance to that. Thank God. Another thing that is part of these 45 goals is to dominate the medical and psychiatric profession and use mental health laws as a means of gaining coercive control over those who oppose communist goals. We're seeing this with the idea of pushing on to children that they are trans, that there's no gender. Again, in trying to circumvent parental rights. So guys, and as I say every show now, the Democrat Party has been taken over by Marxism. They're full on Marxists. So yeah, I mean,
the crazy thing about the LMNOP community is that it's not even that many of them. It's probably up to 5. I know at one point it was 1%. It's probably 5% of them now. But they're a very small number in the community, but they're the loudest. And they have money, they have backing, they have all these things. And that's the crazy thing. Like, how is someone that has such a small percentage making such a major impact in our society? That just means that we're not doing what we're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, well, to your point, they do have money. Again, follow the money. There's an organization called WPATH, the World Professional Association for Transgender Health, and there's some other organizations, but that is a huge one. They have a immense influence because they get funded, or they have donors. Their money funds a whole lot of associations and people. So when you hear the Muriel Bowser's types and whomever else, even I'm going to say even Wes Moore types, I'll say, these people are being funded to take over our children, like to circumvent parents, certainly. The AMA, to highlight KJ's point about circumventing our parents, and again, what I said earlier, not designating a male, female on birth certificates. This is a quote from one of the official papers of the AMA, basically to quote, to not put birth certificates or state male or female. They don't want to do that because doing so, they believe, perpetuates a view that sex designation is permanent and fails to recognize the medical spectrum of gender identity. This is BS. Okay, this is BS. And they're doing this to children who, even if their parents consent to it, these children are still basically being used as experimental objects on some medical table.
But to agree with T, we're not doing enough. The rest of the population, even though these people have money and influence, but then the masses, the numbers of people, they're not doing enough. They're just going along with it. Most of the time, they know that they're teaching this crap to kids in school, and they're still sending the kids to school.
Well, let me ask you this, because as we've mentioned on this show before, personally, a large part of my family are Democrats, and they're also Christian Bible believers. And I wonder, do they realize this stuff is going on? Yeah. Do they know that this, because the only thing that every time I turn around, these leftists, these Democrats, friends, family members, all they're talking about is, oh, the Republicans are racist. Oh, Project 2025 is the end of the world. Trump is a racist. All this type of stuff. You would think that things like this, which the Democrat Party, abortion, trans, LGBT rights are high on their list of important things. Yet you have these people that claim to be Christian, that claim to be, believe in traditional values, still continue to vote Democrat.
Because only God can judge people, apparently. And that's why they're like, well, let God deal with it. In the meantime, your society is going down to hell and you don't even care. They want to mention all these things in the Bible. Well, you need to mention Sodom and Gomorrah while we're at it but there are some people that are waking up because of that. I know for sure, like the people who really are Christians, I guess, and they want to do what they're supposed to do. They're seeing it. But then in the churches, we got most of the faggots in church. They're preachers. They're in the choirs. They're praise and worship leaders. So
I'm going to quote Tony Evans.
I am not, I don't agree with homosexuality, but I'm on this, basically, if that's what you want to do what you want to do. Right. My issue, however, is we're talking about children.
Right.
We are talking about them not teaching that homosexuality, transgenderism, and all this stuff is an alternative. Now they're saying that this is basic biology. This is where you start, and they're pushing it on children. How can traditional people who claim to be traditionalists, claim to believe in the family, continue to vote for a party where this is a number one issue?
I'll tell you how. And this is not my quote. I heard Tony Evans say it years ago. Some Christians, maybe many Christians, are so heavenly minded that they're no earthly good. So, that's the only way I can put it. And again, I'm not mocking Christianity per se, but there are millions of people who, some of them, I don't believe they know all this stuff because they don't want to know. Because to know it means that they would be challenged, that they would have to take a stand, and they're comfortable in whatever little political realm, most of the Democrat Party, in which they find themselves.
Yeah. I want to acknowledge our super chatters tonight. Guys, thank you so much. All right. So we have Neo Grow says, I'm seeing Black American waking up.
Yeah.
That's the case. I really do. Thank you so much. David Anger. Oh my gosh. Thank you.
Thanks, David.
Thank you, David. Thank you. Yeah, I really do hope that's the case. These people are waking up. I don't see it. Again, like I said, every time I turn around, they're talking about Project 2025. We did do a show on this. Personally, I don't see anything wrong with Project 2025. It's about freedom. It's about putting, the power back to the people. It talks about certain things like the Department of Education getting rid of it. And things like that, but they continue to push this Project 2025 as the big monster.
That's because they don't have anything else.
Exactly.
Especially now that they're losing Biden, they have to put that in our faces. Oh, if Project 25, the world is going to be a dictatorship, or America's going to be a dictatorship. We can't have that. So they're using that as a filler until they figure out what they're going to do next.
Yeah. Well, speaking of this Biden administration, and as we embark on the 4th of July, we also embark on record high inflation. A new report out from the American Farm Bureau Federation found that a 10-person cookout that includes items like cheeseburgers, chicken breasts, pork chops, homemade potato salad, strawberries, and ice cream would run up a $71.22 bill. This marks a 5% increase from last year and an almost 30% increase from 5 years ago. Shelly, are Americans understanding that this is Bidenflation? This is on his watch. We're seeing a stark difference between his administration and the Trump administration.
Oh, I think some of us do, some of us don't. Some of us think that, it's Trump's fault, all of this, basically, right? And Biden is trying to fix it. But some of us do know that. It's interesting because, we are affected by just as much, us four on here, we are affected by higher prices and inflation just as much. But we're still going to, I know I am, and you all are in some way, are still going to celebrate our country's birthday tomorrow. So we're going to have whatever on the grill and the pork chops or whatever you want to have. But inflation has gone up. Biden, under this administration, has contributed to it with the debt, the bills, the student loans, whatever. This is not American. This is compulsory stealing. And we call it, you're doing something for people who don't have much more than you. I don't care. This is inflation, and that's what it is.
Yeah. Before I get you in on this, Yana, I want you guys to take a look here at Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen making say, no big deal about grocery prices. Take a look here.
Yellen, have you been to the grocery store lately?
I sure have. I go every week.
It's sticker shock, isn't it?
No.
I just, when you look at shipping costs, those have come down. Global food commodity.
I want to make sure you guys heard what she said. No, 1 second. All right.
Or lately.
I sure have. I go every week.
It's sticker shock, isn't it?
No.
I just, when you look at shipping costs, those have come down. Global food commodity prices have also come down, but food prices still remain high. I know they're not rising at the rate that they were last year, but they're still up 20% from pre-COVID. So should the U.S. invest in agriculture to boost the food supply in this country?
Well, I think largely it reflects cost increases, including labor cost increases that grocery firms have experienced, although there may be some increases in margins. Earlier today, I met with a group of CEOs, including the CEO of Target, and they explained and they've announced that they understand that households are struggling with costs, including food costs, and they have undertaken cuts in the price of bread, milk, diapers, other core purchases that are necessities for households. And I think that's to be applauded. I think that kind of thing is helpful.
Yeah. So in early, when she asked her, and they didn't show her, but when the interviewer asked her, aren't these prices, crazy high? She says no. So these people she's a millionaire. So yeah, she may go to the grocery store every day. She's not apparently looking at the food costs. Shelly, what are your thoughts on this exchange and what we're seeing this 4th of July? Actually, it's Yana. I'm sorry.
Okay,
Yana.
go ahead.
Well, I mean, of course, for the elites, nothing really changed. So for her, she doesn't notice the changes. For people who have either lost their jobs or they still have the same job, but their salary doesn't increase. The salaries are pretty much staying the same for the last, I don't know how many, 10 years. And then the prices on food are ridiculous. Mm-hmm. We can't live like middle class people, really, with the types of prices on food. And of course, this is happening because, well, they were pushing for like the minimum wage increase. There's the fuel prices have gone up, electricity has gone up, so everything has gone up. So of course the food is also gonna go up. So I mean, to combat this, the only thing that we can do really is to start growing our own food. And I know that we've been talking about this with on the show before, that we have to become self-sufficient, or for example, I buy eggs from people in my neighborhood who have their own chickens.
Yep.
So find people in your community who can provide for food that is less expensive and healthier.
Yeah, T. I mean, recently Walgreens closed a significant portion of its roughly 8,600 US stores. Hooters, again, closed multiple stores. Lots of stores, lots of businesses we are seeing are shutting their doors for good. This is all part of Bidenomics, this terribly run administration. I mean, are people, everyday people, noticing this? And do you think they're going to vote differently come November?
They're noticing it, but they're not equating it and connecting it to the current administration. Again, they've been blaming President Trump for everything, and they're saying that, oh, this is an effect from Trump's administration. Trump did this when he was in office. This is why we need 4 more years so that we can get everything back together where it should be. So they're blaming Trump again. But definitely people are feeling it and they're seeing it, but they're still pushing through. They're still doing what they have to do. And I mean, I'm surprised crime hasn't gone up, because when people start panicking and they can't feed their children, they start going out trying to rob people. And I don't know, like, what areas that we're doing that. But this lady, we need to get rid of these old rich people in office or in any high positions, because they're so disconnected from what everyday people are doing. We need more everyday people to step up and say, hey, stuff ain't right. Shit ain't going on right in our homes. Middle class needs to step it up.
I agree. And as you mentioned, they lie about President Trump's record. You know, they always continue to say that President Trump increased the national debt exponentially. It is a lie. The CBO's projection for 2021, the last fiscal year of the Trump administration, forecast the federal debt to reach about $35.3 trillion by 2031. That is over the next decade. Today, 3.5 years into the Biden administration, the latest estimates from the CBO project the debt will hit over $42.5 trillion by 2031.
Yeah.
You know, so again, and Biden continues to push this thing saying, oh, Trump increased the national debt. Trump drove the national debt. It's a lie.
It's a lie.
Yeah,
it's a lot. Look, real quick, I was looking at some figures today, and according to the recent federal poverty levels, a family of 3 meets poverty if they make at least $25,820. Right now, let's say a family of 3, you make less than $26,000 a year, and you have to spend in Maryland about $1,300 per month per child on childcare. Transportation costs for an automobile. New cars are averaging about $45,000, give or take. Used cars maybe about $27,000. That's already more than what you earn in a year, right? Not to mention food. Housing is normally the biggest expense if you have a mortgage or even rent. For most people, it's like 20% of the budget. You are poor. You cannot live off of that, and certainly not in this economy with inflation. Unemployment is about what, 4.4% right now. It's gone up a little bit in the last month or so. But again, this whole administration has been lying to us, has been destroying jobs, has been destroying people, Americans' finances and their livelihoods over time, over these last 3-something years. Trump will win, and he should win. The Democrats, they are done. I mean, at least I'm going to pray that they are.
Yeah, I hope so too. I mean, goodness gracious, he can't run. Biden can't run on his record. He can't even show that he can run. He can barely walk, literally. He can barely speak. And now we have coming up behind him, cackling Kamala Harris. I mean, I don't understand. If this is what people vote for in November, then the country needs to go to hell in a handbasket. It really does. It really does. That's all I
It
can
would be rigged. The thing is that if Biden wins somehow, it's not real.
Yeah.
It can't
Yeah.
be.
Well, that's why we all must vote. We must make it too big to rig, as Trump has been pushing. Too big to rig. We have to do it. Every vote will need to be cast. Every vote will need to be counted. We got to get out there. We got to tell our friends, family members, vote, vote, vote. He'll need every last one of them.
Yeah, that's going to be the issue, getting people, the GOTV, getting people out to vote for Trump, because a lot of people are going to be sitting this one out. And those are the votes that we need, because they're the ones who are going to vote for Trump. We got to make sure they get out to vote.
Absolutely. I do want to acknowledge another super chatter. Thank you so much. Who do we have here? People. As inflation makes these Democrats richer and have the nerve to say tax the rich, but not these Democrat politicians. Yeah. Absolutely. I totally agree there.
Thank you.
Well, one person I'm wondering about whom they may be voting for is actor Columbus Short. He had a viral interview that came out today criticizing Black women. Oh, look, we have Mark Slater. Thank you so much.
Mark. Hi, Mark.
Ladies, I love, as always, Black women vote 90% Democrat. What can we do to persuade them? Well, we just have to continue to keep talking. And I hope more Black women are coming around, but I don't know. I really don't know. That's hard.
I think we need to focus on their children and try to get them to see how much their children are in danger, whether it's education, the LMNOP community, even them providing for their children. We need to get them to see how this is impacting them.
Well,
maybe Black women should be married, and then they would be voting Democrat less. Because if they're not married, then they're probably voting Democrat because they're believing in all these programs that they'll be getting that the Democrats are promising.
I wish I can agree with you on there, because the Black women who are married are voting for Democrats.
No,
about their
a large
husband?
portion of Democrat, a large section, the most popular section of the Democrat vote are single women.
Yes.
Single women are what's really catapulting and pushing them to vote. And that's why they are so focused on abortion, so focused on Renter Nation, because they believe it's kind of what you said, Yana. They believe these single women are unmarried, they're uncoupled, and so they will be more likely to want government handouts. They will be more likely to, talk about abortion and things like that.
Well, I have a story of hope.
Go ahead.
I have a story of hope. A young Black woman, young Black lady. She's 32. She at work. She asked me earlier. I was out doing something. She asked me. She said, "Are you voting for Trump?" Out of the blue. And I said, "Yeah." I said, "Are you voting for him?" She said, "Yes." And she said, "I need my money. When he was in office, I had more money, and I really think that the debate was just funny and rigged. So if she's any hope, or she represents any young Black woman, I'm saying that there's hope."
Yes, yeah. I think people are turning around. I do. I really do believe that.
Slowly.
And speaking of Black women, I want to move on to Columbus Short, because this is kind of crazy. So he came out today with a viral interview criticizing Black women. So the interviewer basically asked him, to compare and contrast Black American women to other races. And he had a mouthful. Take a look here. Let me see here. Here we are.
Between being with a woman, because Columbus has a beautiful wife. She's Armenian. She's freaking gorgeous, drop dead, and sweet, pure energy as well. And so I just want to know, what is the difference between being with Black women and being with? I'm putting you on a serious blast right now, and I know it's going to be crazy. Do you feel like in the media today, there's a lot of demasculating of Black men.
Absolutely. We're going to get there. I'm going. I'm going. Just, we're jumping my time machine. We're about to jump in the DeLorean and gun it to 88. Okay. So we just went through 1886. Now we're in 1921 or 1916. Where you're seeing these people remove. Then now let's get to the 50s, where the 60s, the 70s, where now crack is brought in. How many men in New York, from Oakland to New York and everywhere in between, men were not in the home. So now,
what is the difference between being with a woman?
We come to the 2000s, and these women are Black women, were raised by single mothers, absentee fathers that are either incarcerated, dead, or just gone.
Talk about it.
That their mama said, you don't need no man. You can do it by yourself. So that energy
this is
comes
giving me chills.
That energy comes into the home. They're not, what you talking about? Unless you giving me this, doing that, there's no respect of the man. I'm down.
And me.
I'm down.
And me.
I've already been dragged.
So I'm gonna say this though. Because this is what they'll say.
I'm about to get dragged.
No, you're not. But you will. On my platform, I don't know if you see the comments, boy. But let me say this though. I get dragged every day. It's okay. Now, what I will say is they're about to tell me I'm trying to be white because my hair is blonde in a minute. So, but I'm gonna say this, because this is what the Black woman will say. Don't you blame the man though for being an absent father? They made Black women this way. That's what they're going to say. So I want you to answer that.
Let me talk about it being a man. I'm going to answer all your questions. Okay. So let me talk about being a man. Our men, Black men, find ourselves in being able to provide and being able to protect. When we are denied the ability to provide, we feel less than. When we are denied the ability to protect, do you know what they used to do? They used to make families. We're gonna go deep. Take the man and have him being, you still making dinner, you still washing his clothes, you still cleaning the house. And you're not doing that with, this is my job. That's just what you were trained to do. And I think that kind of training, how you want to ride in a Bugatti, how you want to go on a yacht, but you don't know how to wash your own clothes. You don't know how to vacuum. You don't know how to you don't know how to cook, girl. You don't even know how to cook. So I'm not saying that's all Black women. I'm just saying let's get down to it.
All right. So a lot to unpack there. He had a lot to say on that. I will start off with you, Shelly. What did you think of that exchange? I know it was kind of choppy, but do you agree with what he said about Black women compared to other races?
In some ways, he's right. Many of them, or many of us, if you will, were not taught and raised with those kind of, knowing how to take care of home, things like that. Maybe our parents were or grandparents were in that sense. But towards the end, he said something about, how you going to ride on a yacht or Bugatti? Well, most people that ride in yachts and Bugattis don't cook their own food either. So I don't know what the hell he's talking about there. It was all over the place, or at least he took so long trying to get to whatever the point was. But in some aspects, he's right. They were not taught that. I don't understand. I don't understand his whole point. I know she asked him a question, but it was just kind of, I'll use your word, choppy.
Yeah, I want to go to UT. What are your thoughts on his that exchange? He's one part where he mentioned how when he compared Black women to other women and how many Black women were raised in single parent households. So then they don't respect Black men. They start to emasculate Black men. What are your thoughts there?
I mean, we see it in society every day with all of the elemental P. How that's pushed and it's affecting or impacting straight men. They're wearing skirts. They're wearing, as far as the emasculation, they're wearing skirts. They're polishing their fingernails. They're wearing man bags or purses. Like, I don't remember it ever being like, I remember like Morris Day and those types of people back in the day wearing their perms and costumes. But these people are wearing this in every day. This is impacting everyday men. So definitely being emasculated. I don't know if it's the women's fault or if it's just the industry's fault. But as far as the women go, I'd agree with him. I personally don't really know any women that don't know how to cook. So I don't date women. So I don't know if this is, and I've heard from other men that it's that bad, but I'm like, is it really that bad? Are women really not cooking? Or women really don't know how to take care of themselves? I know they chose their career first because that's what our grandmothers told us, to keep our own stashes. But is it really that bad to a woman they don't know how to take care of a man? Men are very simple. They don't know how to take care of a man, or they don't know how to cook and clean and do the basic stuff for themselves. I mean, at this point, it should be an elevation. Cooking and cleaning is basic stuff. Like if you want to be with a man and take care of a man, there's other things that you know how to do. Respect is a major one. So I can see how women don't know how to respect men because they're making their own money.
Right.
Yeah, I want to get your thoughts on this, Yana. I think what he was saying is not so much heavily on they don't know how to do these things. And again, I did skip forward a little bit in that exchange, but he went into they don't want to. So he was saying that a lot, when you compare Black women to these other races, he finds Black women don't want to cook. They don't want to clean. They don't want to cater to their husbands. And so there lies the issue that he found there, that it's a matter of sort of not knowing as well also, but not wanting to. What are your thoughts there, Yana?
I mean, I can see that. I haven't dated a Black woman, so I do not know. And I'm not a man, so I don't know how they really treat, how poorly. It seems like, I mean, I keep hearing it, is that the Black women treat Black men poorly, so I have to believe them. I guess, maybe that's what's going on. And that lady, she mentioned that someone was married to an Armenian. And in Armenian culture, I know that they're very accommodating to men. It's a patriarchal society, and so you have to do your best to accommodate what the man wants, to make him feel comfortable. Of course, that also, I guess, the opposite of that is that the man has to also provide for the family. So he can't just be laying on the couch all day. Like he should be helping, and he should be, helping with things that she cannot do, and working. So then she'll feel happy to provide those things for the man. So there has to be this understanding. So at the same time, maybe Black men should also be respectful to women and to things that they provide, and not want to have multiple women at the same time and hide that from their girlfriends and wives, because that is one of the things that I hear that Black women do not like, that is going on in the Black community. So because when there's a man of like the high value, they think that they can have everyone, like all the women in the world. And so, there has to be this understanding of respect between the man and the woman.
I think it's important to know that, especially for women, Black women, that when we look for a man that's already high value, he's not going to respect you because you weren't there when he was climbing the ladder of whatever he got to. But we have to make sure to be able to see potential, not only see just potential, but to groom or to nurture, let's say that, to nurture potential men who had the things, but they just need the support and the respect and all those things.
What do you mean he wouldn't respect? I don't understand.
I'm sorry?
What do you mean a high value man would not respect another woman?
Meaning that she wasn't there to help him get to that high value.
She doesn't need to be there to help him get there.
I was going to say, most men want respect. Generally speaking, men want respect and women want love.
Provision and security. Yeah.
Right. So in that sense, that's just pretty much a built-in for most people. But I think what's his name? Columbus Short. One of the things he did, I think he stressed this, was that many women or Black women, they did not have their father in the house, so that they didn't really learn how to respect the man. They weren't really taught, and they didn't learn how to. So they come out of the home as adults with that deficit already in that column.
Yeah, I agree there. And that's what I was going to say. I personally think it's more of, I do agree with him, what he said about women. I think it's more of a Western woman, maybe an American woman, that I see it with. But the younger generation, they don't know how to cook. They don't know how to clean. And they are being brought up and bred off of reality TV, where you see these women on there who are portraying themselves as, you know, they have maids and they have assistants, and they aren't cleaning, they aren't cooking.
Well, because the woman is not in the home anymore. That's just a symptom of that.
Right.
And the mother should have been in the home teaching the kids, showing them the basic skills. And when they're talking about school and home ec, no, that's not going to help. You know, we don't really learn all this stuff in school. You need to learn how to go to the grocery store, how to pick the ingredients. You have to have your grandmother at least at home teaching you all these things, how to cook,
not anymore.
And so the family has been destroyed by the Marxists. So it's obvious that the children do not know what to do.
Yeah. And then the idea that, you know, these homes are being brought up by single moms without male figures in the household. Many of these women don't know how to deal with men. And they are raised to be these masculine women. And then men don't like that. They don't want that. And so that's why you see American men going overseas or going outside of America to other countries where these women still have two-parent households, and their parents or their mothers are teaching them how to be feminine, how to cater to men, how to be loving and affectionate and soft.
Yeah. But I will say that that's not, because I try to do that with my daughters, and that's not easy when they have society out here telling them, oh, you need to be this way for a man. You need to make sure, like the abortion, they're putting abortion on these kids. My daughter, we debate sometimes about what is needed and what you need to do in order to, when you're dating. And she's like, I'm not doing all that because men, and she's hearing this from the world, not from me, because I teach them better.
Right. And another thing, to your point, I'm sorry, Yana, KJ, to your point, I'm not disagreeing with you, but again, I'm going to say this, you can say I'm just whatever, I'm copping out, but it takes two. And when the women are off, usually the men are off as well, or vice versa. And in the Black community, particularly when the father is not in the home, girls and boys suffer, such that when they leave the home, neither one of them really know what a real man, a real father is supposed to do and how he teaches. Both of those sexes, both of the sexes, the male and female, suffer from that.
Yeah, and well, another thing to add is these men, they complain how the women are not treating them well. But then what I hear from Eastern European women, they come to America and they're appalled by the treatment that they get from men here. That, you know, they go to a restaurant and the man says, you know, it's 50-50, right? And or he makes her, you know, pay for her own taxi to go on a date. And that is something that does not happen in other countries, where when a girl is going on a date, the guy is either going to pick her up or pay for her taxi, and definitely going to pay for everything that, you know, that is being spent during that date. And here, you know, totally changed. Now the men are also, you know, playing this game that, you know, it's all equality. And then of course the women are going to follow that. And well, if it's all equal, then I don't need to serve you.
Women need to know how to attract the men that they want. And I've never been asked to pay for a date, and you know, I am kind of cautious when on a first date with a man providing an Uber or whatever for me. I'll just meet you there. But that might be a problem. That's not me allowing him to lead or provide or whatever. But it's just an act of caution. But we need to know how to date.
Right.
Women especially.
Yeah, I agree there. You know, a lot of times nowadays there's no dating either. It's just like you meet people, you smash, and then you see what happens next. And this is whole kind of like culture you see creating now. You're not getting to know these people. People aren't courting, doing that cat and mouse thing, having a good time, just getting to know people. Nobody
just
knows.
Just having fun and having dating, if you will, having times where you can just be together and have fun. You don't, like you said, you don't have to smash or whatever. Just get to know each other.
Dating is actually fun, and I don't know where people put this pressure, so much pressure on dating. But if you're dating, I mean, of course with intention, but dating and getting to know people it's actually fun. And if you realize that men are good, men just want to be respected. They're not bad. I've never dated a bad man.
Right.
Yeah, well, that's another thing. A lot of women have such a poor outlook on men.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. You talk to some women and, you would think they think all men are rapists, masculine. I mean, just nasty people. They think they're going to hurt them, and sometimes that's why you see a lot of these women turn into other women. Because they've been taught to just hate men, and it's really sad. It really is.
It's the lack of appreciation for patriarchy. They make masculinity and patriarchy such a bad thing.
Right. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I agree with you, T, that I don't understand also why so many women complain that dating is hard. I mean, you just have to get to know a person and be open to different people. If it doesn't work with that particular person, so what? Like, just move on. And so
here's what you're saying is true, Yana, but if you've never been taught that, if your culture, not just a generational culture, but the culture overall, if your culture does not teach that, does not promote that, then you have a whole slew of people who don't know how. That's just it. I mean, they just don't know what it means or what it's supposed to look like.
Yeah, that's true. It's sad. So we will continue to follow this story, see what the fallout is on Columbus Short. That's actor Columbus Short on his comments, because I'm sure it will be big fallout. So I want to move on to the final topic of the night, Steve Bannon. So Steve Bannon, a powerful voice in the MAGA movement and one of former President Trump's staunchest allies, has reported to prison. So nearly 2 years ago, a federal jury found Bannon guilty of 2 counts of contempt of Congress after he refused to testify before or submit documents to the January 6th House Unselect Committee, as President Trump says, despite subpoenas ordering him to do so. Bannon served as chief strategist for the first several months of Trump's presidency, but then abruptly left the White House in 2017 after falling out with President Trump. Shelley, what are your thoughts on this? We saw him, having to report to jail. Other people did not. What do you think is going on here?
I think this is a continuation of the political, whatever you want to call it, political witch hunt, the legal fair, as people are calling it now, of Trump when he was first in office. Again, I've said it, we all have said it. The left, these Democrats, the left, they are out to get and stop Trump and everybody associated with him. Ultimately, all of the MAGA people, if you will. To his credit, I saw Steve Bannon. I've been listening to him last week on some interviews, and I have to say, he is, I don't know if you want to call him an American hero, but he basically said when he goes to prison, he will gladly go, because his mission to still stop the left is still going to go on from behind bars, and he's going to use his time wisely. So, my hat's off to him. I'm praying for him, but he is not giving up.
Yeah, I mean, Yana, recently members of Congress also challenged the legitimacy of the January 6th Unselect Committee in the hopes of sparing Bannon a prison sentence. Speaker Mike Johnson filed an amicus brief in support of Bannon's appeal, but I guess that didn't go through. I mean, this is terrible. What are your thoughts here, Yana?
Well, it's like Shelley says, political persecution, and also, for example, if it was on the Democrat side, like with was it Merrick Garland that also was charged in contempt of Congress, and he's not going to jail. So this is exactly what happens in dictatorships, where because this is a person who was representing Trump, now he's been being persecuted just like Trump is. And the America right now is looking just like those countries that America likes to criticize, such as China, Iran, Russia. So it's not surprising to me that this is happening, and we just need to stand behind these people and fight for freedom.
Yeah. T, I mean, is this is an example of a failing republic? Are we losing control here when things like this happen?
Definitely. We can see who's winning by the outcomes. Period. We can see who's winning, and this is where, like Anna said, we have to stand behind. This is where we need to step up.
Mm-hmm.
And they love to protest. We don't have to do what they do, but we need to be effective. And instead of just talking about it. But on another note, this is the kind of man that I'm talking about. This is a man who's standing by his beliefs and standing up to the people who are coming against him and saying, this is what I believe in, this is what I'm standing on. Let's go. Whatever I gotta do. He's being a sacrifice right now. And I appreciate that. That's the type of man I want in my life.
Yeah, he kept on the political offensive, calling himself a political prisoner of Nancy Pelosi and Merrick Garland. He warned that should Trump win in November, that investigators would soon be coming for them.
Yep.
So he even named, people, Comey, director of the FBI, or former director of the FBI, Andrew McCabe, all of them. He named,
and it's gonna happen. Watch it's gonna happen. So mark his words.
Yeah. Look, the crackhead ne'er-do-well son over in the White House, he showed up when he was subpoenaed, showed up the day of his subpoena with a press conference and did not go into the hearing or what he was subpoenaed to. He didn't get charged with contempt, right? I mean, he's still snorting. I mean, he's still snorting. Now he's basically one of the people possibly running the country along with his cruddy, evil stepmother.
Yeah. It's terrible. It's terrible. And that's why I pray that President Trump is re-elected and he can really, I hope day one, he goes in on all of this stuff. I hope he gets rid of the Department of Education. I hope that he closes the border, and I hope that he starts investigations into all of these corrupt bureaucrats and legislatures. I really hope he does. I really.
He needs to stabilize the economy first. Like, make sure his people are good, and then go after those idiots.
Let me tell you what my dream is. Trump wins. Bannon, Vivek, Byron Donalds, Tim Scott, all of these people are somehow in his administration and cabinet. And oh my gosh, I mean, the left might commit suicide. Oh my gosh.
Oh, they're already planning on the Supreme Court. They're saying that Clarence Thomas is going to drop out and they're going to be replaced with 3 other Supreme Court justices. They're trying to map everything out to scare people using their fear tactics again.
Yeah, they certainly are. So we got to stay on top of all this. This is why we do what we do. We want to make you aware so you can prepare for all that is coming. That's what we do here at Poppin' Politics. So thank you guys so much for riding out with us, continuing to watch and comment and subscribe. Your subscriptions, we need to grow this community because, guys, I mean, even if President Trump is elected, there's a lot of work to be done. That will just be the beginning. That would not only will he have his work cut out for him, but they're still going to be coming for him.
Oh yeah,
they will not stop. Yeah.
What I do appreciate is that he's not in the media talking a lot anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So they can't really say, "Oh, he said grab him by the pussy," or even though they're still saying that, but they can't really say any new things about him and what he says.
Right. Well, That does it for us tonight. Want to wish everyone a happy Independence Day tomorrow. Happy 4th of July. You can see we're all in our festive scarves and hats. What is that? Oh, yes. I want to acknowledge our super chatters here. Oh, my gosh. Thank you guys so much. Who do we have here? Oh, Damien. Thank you, Damien. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Yes. All right. And LAPD squad. Don't forget the feminization of men part of the plan. Yep. I think he was responding to the
Columbus Short.
Yeah, Columbus Short. Cynthia. Hey, Cynthia. She says Kamala is a DEI choice. They can't pass her over. Let's uplift our men also. Absolutely.
Definitely.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She's a DEI choice. Absolutely. Oh, a terrible one. A terrible one. But I think she's going to be it. I can't see how they bypass her either. I mean, I really can't.
Constitutionally, they can't.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah.
Constitutionally, I said. I didn't say illegally.
Well, that's if he drops out now. But when it comes to re-election or election, that's nothing to do with Kamala.
I mean, it's just going to be entertaining if she goes in a debate and starts saying unburdened for what has done.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she wasn't a bad debater, if memory serves me. When she was debating Vice President Pence, I think she didn't do too badly in debating.
Okay, a broken clock is right twice a day.
She's a wild card.
A broken clock is right twice a day. Okay.
Right. That's true. That's true.
Unburdened for what has been.
Yeah, but you can't underestimate these people. I mean, really, we have to stay on guard. We have to keep our guards up constantly. We cannot underestimate them. They are liars. They are wicked. They are evil. I hate to say that, but I mean, I'm not talking about everyday Democrats. I'm talking about the machine, the Democrat machine. They are evil. And we have to stay on guard. So, all right, that does it for us tonight. Again, you guys have a wonderful, happy 4th of July. Be safe. Love your country. So happy to be here in this time too. Happy to live in this time. Happy to be in this space. God
celebrate America.
Yes. God bless America. All right.